Hello, friends. In one of the earlier videos from the WhiteSpace Bookshelf, I had made reference to one ancient Chinese saying, which said, "When the student is ready, the teacher appears." So, this today's book actually has a very, very special meaning in my life. It was 2016, I was going through one of my biggest professional turmoils in my consultancy journey. Maybe in some other video we'll talk about it. And I I don't know how I came across this book. Maybe it was a blog which said 10 most meaningful books you must read. So I picked up this book. Uh, this book uh, is a gem. It's an epic, and it is written by Dr. Viktor Frankl. Who is Dr. Viktor Frankl, or who was Dr. Viktor Frankl? Dr. Viktor Frankl was one of the most renowned psychiatrists or psychoanalysts in the world. Uh, his claim to fame is not just being a very famous psychiatrist. He was a psychiatrist, and he's a Holocaust survivor. Holocaust, you recall, when was the time when the Germans killed a lot of Jews in concentration camps. So this is Dr. Viktor Frankl, and he wrote a book. He has written a book which was translated from German to English, and the book is Man's Search for Meaning by Dr. Viktor Frankl. Dr. Viktor Frankl passed away in 1997, and you can read more about him on the net. But this book is very, very profound. As you can see, it's a thin book, barely 100 odd pages, but it's a very profound book. Now, let me tell you very briefly, without any spoilers, what this book is about, or what does it address. So, to go back, Dr. Viktor Frankl was born in Vienna. He was a student, and he was just about 19 or 20 years age when he first published his paper on psychoanalysis, and through corresponding with Dr. Sigmund Freud, the famous psychiatrist, as we know. And his paper, got a lot of reviews. And then he also there are other psychiatrists, famous psychiatrist, Dr. Alfred Adler. He was a student. He was part of his professional circle. When he realized that his views were not matching Dr. Freud and Dr. Adler, right? Now, typically, if you see, I'm not a psychology student, so I will not be talking much in detail. But typically, when we look at the Freudian theory, Freudian theory is built on man's will for pleasure, a human's will for pleasure. Your Adlerian theory is built on man's will for power. So pleasure and power. And what Dr. Frankl was, why he got a disconnect, he felt that the central is not man's will for pleasure or man's will for power, but a man's will for meaning in the life. Now, typically what happens is, this all sounds like Gyan, and this was all what he was propagating on, as he was studying his medicine in Vienna. And after he got qualified, he started working on specializing on case of women's suicides. Now, what happens is, all this is Gyan, man's search for meaning. It is different than that, and different from man's search of power and man's search for pleasure, right? And sometimes what happens, life throws a situation where that Gyan has to be tested. In 1939, 1940, when Germany overran Austria, all the Jews were sent to the concentration camps. And you know the horrible details over there. Dr. Viktor Frankl went to those concentration camps. Friends, in 3 years, he was sent to 4 camps, one after the other. He lost all his family, his wife, his brother, his father. Barring his sister, he lost everyone. How can you find meaning in a place where every day's existence, the worst of atrocities, the worst of conditions, losing your loved ones, is there meaning there? And I think there could not be a more powerful crucible to test Dr. Viktor Frankl's theory. So this book is part in two parts. The first part is what he talks about is his concentration camp days. And the second part is about his theory of this, what we called, man's will for meaning. It is something called logotherapy. I'm not going into details for that. So the second part is about logotherapy. Don't get too bogged down by one or two big words, because those, if you surpass that, you will get, gems of, to reflect on. And I'm not telling you, but there is one story over here, actual dialogues, where he talks to a mother who lost her 11-year-old child, very thing, and she's contemplating suicide. And what happens in that conversation? Even when I read it now, sometimes I get goosebumps. So, friends, I think this is a book which holds a lot of value for us in our busy lives, when we are driven by our motivational forces of definitely power or pleasure or whatever. Somewhere at the core is our search for purpose, or our search for meaning. And who better to articulate that than the late Dr. Viktor E. Frankl. So please do read Man's Search for Meaning. Don't get deceptive by the thin size of the book, 107. It's written in a very simple language, by and large. It's a narrative, but it is going to make you think, and it is going to make you reflect. After all, that's what books are for, right? So friends, thank you so much for watching. I would request you once again that if you enjoy these videos, please do like and subscribe and share this in your professional and personal network. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll be back again soon. Bye.